So what is your name and where are you from?
Jason Wolf, and I'm from Baltimore, Maryland.
And how did you originally hear about my website?
Just kind of doing a random search through, some tutorials, and the YouTube videos popped up, many years ago, and the rest is history, as they say.
All right. What do you like most about learning from my method?
Well, like I was saying earlier, regardless of the skill level, right? So obviously, I have a classical music background, but you become older, job, career changes, children, family. You're not playing the piano as much, or whatever instrument you're playing,
Mhm.
or whatever it is for that matter. You become busy, right? People are busy. So for me, I can speak for myself. I like it because I already understand a lot of the concepts and chords and notes, and I can read music and progressions. And, I can do all those things. So it was very, very easy transition for me. But having said that, again, for somebody that doesn't understand that, what I think is very unique is that that person can also do it, that has very little background or no background. So that's what I think is very unique about yours, because a lot of the other services, unfortunately, I just think the majority of them, you have to have some kind of understanding of music to
Yeah.
utilize,
Yeah.
But anyway, that's what I think.
So you can see a beginner on my stuff that they would have what they need.
Yeah, like I said, it doesn't matter skill level, whether it's someone like me, and I'm not some kind of professional musician, but again, I'm probably a lot more advanced than, you know,
Yeah, I would
average
say
person.
so.
But again, the person that doesn't, I think they can grasp it, pretty quickly,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, here's something I've been learning. A lot of my members are gigging musicians, or they at least will play at parties and whatever. You ever done that kind of thing?
Just maybe for some friends and stuff, like
Yeah.
playing at their house, Christmas
Okay.
carols or parties, and
Yeah.
there's adult beverages flowing,
Sure. That makes it easier.
bad karaoke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So another thing I'm finding out is that and I've done this from the very beginning. When I'm transcribing a song, and I just chose to go this route. A lot of the lessons on YouTube and so forth will have the melody in the right hand, which is okay. Some people like covers. To me, it can get kind of like elevator music sometimes. But I've always emphasized doing exactly what the artist is doing in the song. I don't want to give you a version or my thing or a watered down thing, so that I want to give you what if you click on an Elton John song, live solo, whatever. I want to give you every note as best as humanly possible what he's doing, so that you can play like Elton does. If he's improvising chords or a solo or something, I want to show you what I know about how he thinks, so that you can do it how he's doing it. So you're not just being a robot, but you learn the skill that he's doing. I've always gone for that authenticity. It was, I thought, maybe a little of a risk when I started, but I'm finding out they like
No,
that.
that's what people
Do you
want.
notice that? Do you care that that's how I do it?
No, I prefer it. Yeah,
Okay.
I prefer it. I mean, again, no, I'm not. I say this respectfully, but to some of the other services, I find that it's their version of it, or yeah, he plays it this way, but I think, and I'm like, all right, well, you didn't really write the song, man. But so I
Yeah.
just think that's what
Right.
people want. They're asking you to do that. It's like, hey, I want to play it that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Right.
I think it's important. There's a reason why they want to learn that, or the version of that, the
Sure.
way it sounds on the album, or some live performance. So I actually prefer it, because if
I
you do it your way, you're like, hey, that doesn't sound the same. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah,
So
I want to play it like they do. And I'm not perfect on that part of it either, but I try to
no,
get
no, but it's
as
pretty close, man.
absolutely, yeah. So what makes my method different from other online piano lessons? You've kind of
Well,
said
like
these things.
like I said, I've kind of answered that, but I mean, I just think it's the biggest separator is it's authentic, right? So I think it's much more authentic. It's that version, and you're also explaining while you're doing that. I notice what's over time. Where it's a little bit different now, you explain the theory behind it, or why he plays it this way, or why he does that. That's what I think is a little unique. It's not computer generated, right? A lot of these other ones are computer generated,
Yeah.
or it's somebody filming down, and you're watching their hands. And I just don't think that's very effective, especially back to what I said earlier. That's really not effective for somebody that doesn't know how to play music, or really read music, or understand it, right? So,
Right.
but the biggest separator is, I think
Yeah.
for even beginner or advanced, I think anybody can really learn from it, and it's authentic, and you're also explaining why it's written that way, and you're also explaining uh, sequencing, right? And you're explaining, you know, I know it's not on the screen, but
Yeah.
but
Right.
somebody doing that can understand an eighth note or a 16th and why and the beats, and you're counting right, one, two, and a lot of those other services don't do that, so
Yeah. I've always wanted to, instead of giving you fish, I want to teach you how to fish. Yeah.
correct, correct.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, how satisfied are you with my lessons?
Oh, 10, absolutely.
Well, thank you very much.
Oh no, you're welcome, man. Thank you.
Always, if I rate myself, I always do, I'll give myself a 9 point something because I want to leave room for improvement. I want to always leave that room to get better. I had an
Hmm.
old coach who used to say, if you stop getting better, you stop being good. And that stuck with me,
Hmm.
So that was great advice, I think. Would you recommend my lessons to a family member or a friend? And if so, why?
Absolutely. I mean, for the reasons that I said. I mean, because most of my friends and well, the majority of people, right, they don't play an instrument. So to say, hey, look, people always say, I've always wanted to do this. I always wanted to play it or learn this. And I'm like, well, I said, there's a service out there. You don't really know how to play music or really understand it or read it, but if you do this, I mean, hey, it's pretty, reasonable and affordable. Try it. And you know what? What's the worst that can happen? You don't
That's
like it?
right.
All right, then you punt. But hey, if you want to learn how to play the piano, maybe even at a basic level, you should try that. And at the same time, not only will you learn a few songs, but you can learn because you have some of those lessons that explain chords and explain that. Most of those, like you said, that's another separator. Most of those other services don't have that. They're not explaining minor chords or scales and things like that. You have some of those lessons in there from the old
Yeah.
ones where they're explaining that.
And I think, Jason, some of that is these, it's not that they couldn't do that. These are younger people. I'm 51 this year, but I kind of am young enough to where I had to
We're the same
teach
age, man.
privately. I had 50 students every week for 20 years, and real people. And a lot of these people on the internet now, they kind of miss that. So everything they've done is on the internet. They've never actually interacted with a real person. So they don't know
Correct.
what to say, know what to do.
Correct.
And I would probably be the same way if I was in that boat. But I had those 20 years where I was sitting side by side with people every day. And you learn a thing or two about what people are going to have problems with, what they might struggle with. And I try to think of those problems, and ahead of time and give you solutions for them during the lesson. So I like to give a shout out to all those guinea pigs that I had for 20 years that helped
Oh
me.
yeah, no, that was me. I sat next to the teacher. Downtown Baltimore, man,
Yeah.
and Peabody, and sat there for 11 years and learned how to play and read music and classical music. So yeah, those things are very, very important. So to have that on the website,
Yeah.
explaining chords, explaining scales, explaining, again, what it was an eighth note, how to count.
Right.
Here's a half note, here's how, not just
Yeah.
what it is, but how you count, how that should sound.
Because it helps. And I try to,
It's very important.
yeah. And I don't want to go to the side here and go, okay, this is how theory works, and then go play the song. I try to teach that in the song because it applies to real music. And I found that people are a lot more receptive to it if you're actually applying it to the music you're trying to play, the songs you love, because it applies. You just have to have, someone point it out. Well, we have a few minutes left here before Zoom cuts me off. So I just have the free
Okay.
account. But is there anything I can do for you? Any questions you have for me or anything at all?
Yeah, or I can call you. Like I said, I have a one off for you, but this is more to do with maybe a hired request thing. So this
Okay.
is yeah.
Well,
I have
you have my phone number. You can just text me or call me, whatever.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah. I can call you.
yeah.
But no, thanks, man. Like I said, it has to do more so with just let me know when you have a few minutes, and we can talk about it.
Yeah. Well, I have let's see, an interview after yours. I'm
Okay.
gonna have to go to the bank, but maybe this afternoon if you want to give
Yeah,
me
I'll
a
give
call
you.
or text me
I'll
when would be a
text.
good
I'll
time.
text you, and you let me know. Yeah, it's maybe a 5-minute
Okay.
conversation.
Sure.
You know.
Yeah, and so yeah, the requests are going good now because now I'm not. Remember, I used to put out an advertisement, and then I'd get 200, and so for a year and a half, I'm just backlogged. But I've quit doing that, and I just because I get enough people asking them for it anyway without me advertising it, and it's usually pretty good stuff. It's nothing real far out there, so it's a lot of good stuff I'm getting. So I kind of like how it's going right now. Yeah, shoot me a request. We can do that as well. Well, thank you, Jason, so much. I'm going to send you that email with that link in it, that Google review, if you wouldn't mind doing that for me. It's going to really help me in my SEO optimization, they say. So thanks for that.
Got it, man.
Appreciate it.
Talk
All right,
to you
I'll talk
soon.
to you soon.
See you, buddy. Here he is.
Hey, Jason.
How you doing, buddy?
Oh, wonderful. Hey, thank you
Yeah.
so much for doing this.
I know it's finally I get to meet the man, the myth, the legend.
Hey,
Yeah.
Jonna, can you turn the computer up all the way? Okay.
Is this all right? The background's okay. I'm in my car, so.
No, that's fine. I was just having my wife
Okay.
turn the sound up so I could hear you better.
Okay.
It's fine. I can hear you. This is great, actually. You're keep it like you had it, with just out a little bit where there's where we can see the surroundings a little better. It's better for the editing if we have
Is this
more.
good? I'm okay now?
Landscape. That's perfect.
Okay.
Yeah. Doesn't
Okay,
matter you're in the
good.
car. Yeah. I know I have some people holding a profile and they're walking around and it's
No, I'm
it's hard to-
dropping I dropped my daughter off at my youngest daughter at college yesterday. So
Oh,
I'm down here in like Ashland, Virginia, like a suburb of Richmond.
okay.
So,
Well,
yeah.
I got kids and you're probably down in the dumps right now.
That's okay. I got 2 girls. I'm a girl dad, so I have a
I got
24-year-old and one I just sent to college. So yeah.
Wow, I got my one little one, and it always is sad. You come home. The saddest
I-
part is when you come back home and they go in their room and there's they're not in there. And
I know. It's okay, man.
yeah, because
But you're in Texas, right?
yeah, Central Texas in Waco. We're known for many things.
I'll be in Dallas on the 13th for 2 weeks.
Really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hey, I'll tell you what, Jason, if you're ever around our area or want to pop in, it'd be great to meet in person.
Mm.
And I got a little studio here in my house and jam or
Oh, I know.
whatever.
It wasn't like that a few years back. It's all fancy now, man. I said he's stepping it up.
Yeah,
Yep.
I am. I know.
That's good,
but
man. That's awesome. That's awesome, man.
Well, I'm glad you're doing this testimony with me. I kind of worried about it, but I'm loving it. I should have done it many years. You guys are the most wonderful people in the world.
No, I think you're great, man. I know you wanted to, basically get to know me a little bit better, and I'm actually glad, that you reached out. I was like, yes, I always wanted to give that guy a call. I said, so I'm classically trained, man. I went to Peabody for 11 years in Baltimore.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, Peabody. Everybody knows Peabody, right?
Yeah.
Not to university. I didn't go to college there, but I went to the conservatory preparatory, right? So private lessons and
So let me ask you this, because I know the classical repertoire too. What was the what were you working on when you
like
stopped?
Suzuki method or something.
Okay.
Like it was the Suzuki method, and then obviously I started doing that at like 8 or 7 years old, and then you know how it is, man. You're 18, 19, you're graduating high school and you're transitioning and you don't have as much time. And I also I was a baseball player. So I was, finally my mom acquiesced and I was like, okay, well, I might have a career in baseball. I said, so, and I love,
right.
and I love the piano. Yeah. I played in the independent league and then also in some semi-pro leagues, but anyway, like, yeah, I love it. But
what position were you?
I played center field.
Yeah. Okay. So you're fast.
I was. I'm an old man now. So, I mean, I love it, but I will tell you, and we can talk more about it, when I looked at the questions, but for me, the depth and the breadth and the speed of the sheet music is what goes. So I'm playing Chopin at 15.
Okay, what are you playing, Chopin?
Brother,
I know the repertoire.
I can't,
what are you playing?
not like stuff like Nocturne and impromptu stuff. I was like, I can't play it now, man. It's that's what I'm saying. I'm looking down. Before you're playing, like for you, it's what you do every day. But for me, where you're not practicing, for years, right? I'm looking down. Where before I could just read the music, I can do it blind. I was like, so. When I saw that stuff a few years ago on the YouTube thing, I was like, you know what? I said, I understand chord progressions. I can read music. Yeah. I said, I understand music theory. I said, but for something like that, I said, it's a little bit easier for me. And I can, but at the same time, for somebody who's a beginner, they can do that too through your thing. So it's very unique that way. And how, I guess for me, how it's different from some of the other stuff that I saw. For one, I think a lot of the other ones, no, I mean, no disrespect to those guys, a lot of them and the videos that I've seen over the years, now maybe some of it's improved. I think it's a little sloppy, the way that it's done, like unprofessional. And also, it's a little difficult if you don't, like a lot of those other services, if you cannot read music or if you don't understand music and
Yeah.
chords and this B7, most people don't know what a B7 is, right? They're like, what's
Right.
that? Oh, you hit B7. I was like, you can't just put that up there. You actually have to
Right.
show them, because
You
most
do.
people learn by seeing, right?
Yeah.
And then do it. For me, maybe a little bit easier, but for your method, um, honestly, anybody can do it. I mean, you even remember before when you had the keyboard laid out? Yeah.
Yes, I do.
Yeah. So, I mean, so for the person that doesn't play, that's perfect. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But anyway, man, no, I think you're great. And, like I said, it's helped me, start playing again. You know what I mean? Honestly, because I wasn't playing the piano very much, man. I mean, it just sat in my house. There's a
Yeah.
baby grand sitting there, and I would play it maybe like once or twice a month, and then you get frustrated. You're like, forget
Yeah.
it. It's like I'm
Right.
playing. I can't play stuff now that I was playing at 14
Yeah.
years old.
Well, let me ask you this. You did Suzuki, and I find that people that do Suzuki especially have trouble reading music, but just because of the way it's set up, because it's very ear and memory, which is a great part of it, but it does, your music reading does suffer if you do Suzuki. I've never met a Suzuki person, violin or piano, who was an amazing sight reader. They all have
Correct.
trouble reading. Many of them have great ears and they can play a lot of things. So if you're trying to read music, which is a great skill to have, Suzuki's not going to really help that. So that's probably where you were, and you said you were looking down, looking up, and that's all due to the ability of sight reading. It has nothing to do with your musical ability, your talent, or anything. That's a separate skill that takes no musical talent at all to learn that part. You're just pushing the right buttons, Then of course you can add music, your talent to it when you're playing. But that skill of seeing the notes on the page and playing, I've met people who are robots that can do sight read anything, and they don't have much musical talent. If that makes any sense, so the two are
Sure.
not necessarily go together. But you had, I guess that you were able to play, and I sound like I can hear that you were frustrated trying to look up and down and play, because I had that in college, man. I took that with me all the way, and I could play Liszt and Rachmaninoff. But I could not sight read it to save my life. I did like you did. I memorized one measure at a time.
Right.
And I
Right.
eventually in my 30s was like, you know what? I know what my problem is. Let me fix it. And I did. And now I'm a great sight reader. But I took a lot of time to do that. But your playing level, the way we did it, gets really separated from your reading level. And the farther those two things get apart, the more frustrated you can become, because your teachers think you're reading the music, but you're just using your ear and you're memorizing, and so they don't realize that your reading is really terrible until they
Right.
set something in front of you and say, all right, let's play this. And I'm like, well, give me a week to look at it
Right.
and I'll play you the first page. So how long have you been with me? I'm curious. How many? Been years, I'm sure.
On and off, I stopped it for a little bit, but I think collectively, it's been a while, man. I mean, I can probably look at some of the emails.
Like
Um,
5 years.
no, no,
And
no. It's longer than that, man.
okay,
I want to
10.
say yeah, I want to say it's at least since about 2010ish, 12, maybe 10,
Excellent.
12
All
years.
right, 15.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
you're close. Yeah, I had someone on a couple of days ago that's been with me for 17 years. So
Yeah.
he was the longest, but this is great because I'm hearing you guys have been, you and a lot of the others have just stayed with me all these many years, and I had no idea it had been that long. So I'm really impressed with that, and it's
It was
really
on
cool.
and off. Like I said, I let it lapse for a little bit, just
Yeah.
because I was like, you know what, I'm not using it. And then I came back to it. But collectively, it's probably been 12 to 15 years on and
Okay.
off. Yeah.
So Jason, I love hearing your experience. You're very talented. You're a smart guy. You're athletic. Baseball and everything. All you guys are just, I'm so in awe of the things you do. I mean, I'm having CEOs and people that are. One guy worked for the Rhodes piano, the old Rhodes in
Yeah.
the
Yeah. Yeah.
70s.
Yeah.
He worked with the guy who invented whatever his name was, Arthur Rhodes or something, and
Hmm.
that guy taught him how to work on those keyboards. So he was a technician for Rhodes. Anyway, so
Wow.
just these stories are incredible. Yeah, and I'm just hearing, you're talented. You have music in you. You love music. Sight reading has been a struggle, either because maybe your brain doesn't work that way, or you didn't,
In
weren't given the tools
practice,
as you
yeah,
grew
to
up.
do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, what was it about my method that attracted you? Was it an immediate thing where you immediately clicked? Did you have a learning curve? What was it about my tablature that hooked you?
Um, like I said, some of these tutorials, I mean, I'm going back several years, but there were several of these videos on YouTube and things like that. And I was like, all right, this guy's got quite a few. And I was like, and it just, I kind of just gravitated to it. Again, maybe it's because I understand music and,
Yeah.
but even if you don't, you can still use that. But really, I just felt very comfortable with the way you were doing it. And I was like, oh, I was like, I see how he's doing it. I said, where other guys they're showing you their hands, where there's a computer generated,
Yeah.
interface. That I was like,
Yeah.
no,
I hate
that's
those.
difficult. Yeah, because they're showing keys that light up. I said, if you don't understand music and you can't
Yeah.
read music, that's pointless to me,
It is.
honestly. Because I mean, no offense, like I could do that. I could load a software program, and I mean, come on, man. But
Yeah. And
so for yours, I just thought it was very, very user friendly, and
yeah.
you
So you
it was very,
understand
and you
chords.
took your time.
Yeah.
You took your time with it.
Well, you understand chords, you understand music, so you have a kind of a unique perspective I want to get in here.
Uh-huh.
You know what chords are, you know what scales are, you understand how music is put together. You went
Sure.
pretty far in music. So a lot of people will look at my method and they'll go, "Oh, you're cheating, or you're missing out on so much because you're not." And I want to say, no, I mean, we're talking about chords. We're talking about theory. And they asked me, do you have theory lessons? I said, yeah, but I teach theory in the lessons and all through for the whole time. I try to sprinkle those things. Okay, this is a F chord, this is C chord, this is a 5 chord. I try to throw those things in. So are you noticing that somehow my lessons are lacking, or I'm not doing theory, are you cheating, or it's less than the traditional music
No,
compared to?
I would say early on, like in your early lessons, and I'm going back a ways, but I would say it's improved because now you're having more conversations, and I've noticed the videos are longer. And I
Yeah,
was like, oh, this guy's giving like a little essay, a little
yeah,
background, because you know how it'll pan. You're sitting there and you're talking. I was like, that's good. Or as you're explaining it, oh, why Stevie Wonder does this, why Elton John does this,
yeah,
because a lot of these guys, if it's popular music, let's be honest, for the most part, it's very similar to the way it's set up, right? Um,
yeah,
so
yeah. So, right.
Billy
So,
Joel stuff, whatever, right?
and I'd like to say, I've gotten better as I go
No,
along.
I would say that, yeah,
One thing
absolutely.
I'm happy about, Jason. The other day, not the other day, a couple of years ago, I had someone hire me to do something that was the exact same I did like 15 years ago. I was so angry at myself that I didn't, because I mistitled it, and I did it twice. But I'm again looking at it, and I was happy because it was note for note. There may be one or two notes that were different, but it was note for note what I did back then. So I'm like, I must be doing something right if it's exactly the same. So I'm glad that part of it, has been consistent. But I have gotten better at listening to you guys, because you want the fingerings, you want to know what the chords are. And, in the video, I'm kind of like, well, I need to get to it. But all the feedback I'm getting, I'm listening to you guys, and I'm trying to get better as I go along. And I have gotten better. And I'm trying to listen to what you're saying and continually get better. And I plan on doing this for the rest of my life if God lets
No,
me.
I think you're amazing, man. Like I said, like I said, even 10 years ago, that it looked a little bit, it looked a lot different, right? Now
Yeah.
I said, he's all fans. I was like, before, I mean, it was a pain in the ass, right? When it was just the video and uploading it, that was difficult. But
Yes.
technology changes, man. That had nothing to do with you. But now it's like, oh, it's a PDF and I can do
It's
all
easy.
that. I was like,
Let me
do you
ask you
know how
this
much
too.
streamlined it is now? Yeah.
Let me ask you this too. So my old videos on the whiteboard and the actual writing
Yeah.
thing, and a lot of people don't realize that I would go bottom to top sometimes, and they go, "Why did you used to do that?" And I said, "Well, I'm an upside down lefty, and I'll erase everything as I go down the board." So that's why I went up. If you ever wondered
Mhm.
that, but I want to ask you this: so you have those old videos, and you have the ones I have today. So part of me was like, I need to redo some of those old ones. But this is the response I got. People are like, no, don't replace them. Leave the old
Don't.
ones up there. And the people feel like. Do you feel like the old lessons are still have value today, even though they're different looking? They're the 360. resolution, and they're on the whiteboard, and it's, just not, the video quality is not what it is today. Are you still able to learn from those old videos?
Absolutely. And I guess, and I'll even add this in, some of them are, shorter and easier. So yes, absolutely. I wouldn't take them down, because most of the stuff, you have to remember, the majority of what I learned from you are from the old ones,
Yeah.
because I've known you for a while. So, and then when I joined back in, I was like, oh, I said, he stepped it up, man. I was like, there's credits and I can download PDFs. I was like, nice,
Yeah.
so I like
Well,
it,
I
man.
love that, because instead of spending time redoing some of these old ones, I can keep doing new stuff and adding to the library. And another question: when you look at what's in the library, do why those songs are in there? How do you feel about the content of the library? Is it not enough? Is it too much? Is it, how do you feel about what's available to learn as far as the song
I think it's great,
content?
man. Yeah, I know. I think it's great. And then plus you do like the request stuff, but no, I think it's great. You know,
Yeah. So the
I
request
don't.
you've done the hard request, and I have
Yeah,
to
and
tell
actually,
you,
and after we're done, I have a question for you, but we can take
okay,
it offline. We can take it offline. Yeah, yeah.
we
It'll,
can, or we
it,
can do it here. It's fine, but unless it's something
okay,
you don't want to
go
say.
ahead.
But the hard request stuff, a lot of people don't realize this. I do the hard request, but every song in the library, maybe 99.5%, are from the hard requests. So I did not choose what's in there. It's you guys chose the whole thing. And what I like about that, if I'm just choosing it, I'm gonna be skewed on what I like and it's not gonna be, not gonna fit the masses. But you guys have chosen it. When I say you guys, I mean everybody, just like you, lifetime members and so forth, who have been requesting stuff because you know what's good. And so I'll get a live version that's just rocking. That's better than an album version somewhere. And I would have found it because I'm not into music, like some of you guys are. And the very things that are, that are in the song library are just things that are really neat finds that you find on YouTube, and you go, man, why does this not have more views? This one's awesome. Sometimes there's a cover someone's just killing, and it's really good. Someone found it, and I'll do a request on that. I always say what it is in the video so someone can find it on YouTube and watch it to know where the source video is. But that's why the library is so great, because I didn't pick it myself. All you guys did. It's 99.5% just user, recommended. So all you guys have chosen the request. And I love that, because if one person loves a song, there's going to be someone else that, several people that will love the same thing and go, oh man, I can't believe this was on here. So that's part of my survival, I think. I didn't plan that, but
Right.
the things that you can't find anywhere else, you can find on my site many times.
No, it's awesome, man. No, I think it's great. Then you have a blend of classical stuff, pop, rock and roll. So yeah, it's great. Yeah,
So
I think
what are you into, Jason? I could look at your requests, but what do you listen to? What's the stuff you
I
like?
would say there's a variety of music, man. So
Good.
I'm obviously trained classically. My mother sang professionally, so
Oh,
she
really?
sang, yeah, she sang in, like, you may be not familiar because it's in Texas, but she sang in what's called the Handel Choir. It's in Baltimore for over 30 years, and she also sang in like the DC Choral Society, and then also Johns Hopkins has a chamber choir. So she
Oh,
sang in
wow.
that, and she sang in the church. So
You soprano?
yes, yes. She passed away in 16, but yeah. So music was a big part of us, our
Oh, yeah.
lives. So yeah, that's why I train classically. So of course, I listen to some classical music, but yeah, I listen to everything. Not a big country guy,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean,
I'm
I
kind of that
listen to
way.
anything from classical music to old school hip hop to jazz to rock and roll, classic
Yeah.
stuff, man. I grew up in the 80s and 90s, man. So,
Yes.
there's, like I said, I listen to everything, and it's amazing. What I'll add is my children listen to our music, because new music. I mean,
I know.
new
Don't you
music
love
today is
that?
terrible. Yeah, new music today is it's terrible. I'm
My
sorry.
son is the same way. I did not force him to listen to
No,
the
they
music
listen
I
to my
listen to.
stuff.
He
Yeah,
chose it.
yeah, they're
And
listening
I,
to my stuff. Yeah.
yeah. So people will ask me, what kind of music do you like? And my answer is usually good music. Because in any genre, there's, good music that I'll listen to. I'm like you. I'm not the biggest fan of country music, although I can get into it.
It's
I'm
okay.
not opposed to it. Haven't been able to get on the rap train.
It's
I just,
okay. That's all right, man. Yeah.
once in a
My
while,
dad,
maybe,
my dad's a big Springsteen guy, so he's been
Oh
to
yeah.
a
Hey,
gazillion
you know what?
Springsteen
I got
shows.
a neat one coming up. Springsteen. It's Racing in the Street live version he did in London couple years
Nice.
back. The piano player is incredible. I'm gonna do it
Hmm.
note for note. It's like 10 minutes long, but it's gonna be epic.
Wow.
Um, yeah. So let me get to these questions. These are gonna sound a little redundant. You probably kind of answered them already, but if you don't
That's
mind,
okay. No, no,
just doing
no.
that one more
Absolutely.
time. And at the end of this, I'm going to send you an email with a link for a Google review. If you don't mind just typing in, just kind of what we're talking about here, just taking 2 minutes to do that. That's supposed to really help me. I haven't worked on my business in 17 years. I've only just put up videos and I've never worked on the business side. And my business coaches that I have now are like, hey, you could really probably double or triple this if you actually worked on the business side. So part of the thing is getting the Google reviews. And so that'll help me a whole lot if you're able to
Yep.
do that. But I'll send that at the end. Let's get to these questions and then
Sure.
we can talk a little more.